Enggak. AI is changing the game for app development. Firebase is here to help. We offer a platform
and even a third one that is going to be called cards. So essentially we have three folders within the components. There we go. Importing our user button and then rendering it right here. Now we've done a lot of all of the currently open files and go to our root page.tsx because this is what happens once we're actually logged in. And we can override this by importing our user button and then rendering it right here. Now we've done a lot of changes, so let's go ahead and test it out and see if everything works. Of course, we're going to center this in the middle of the screen later on, but for now, let's go ahead and see if our authentication works by choosing to sign in or sign up with any of these methods. I'm gonna proceed with Google, and immediately it requests us to add the username as well. I'm gonna do JS Mastery and click Continue. And we've been redirected to localhost 3000. And you can see a little profile icon on top left. If you click it, it's going to open up a modal that's going to allow you to sign out or manage your account. And within Manage Account, you can immediately change or remove your profile pic. You can also change your username, change your email, choose which account are you connected with, and even manage your password and active devices. All of this comes right out of the box by using Clerk. If you think about it, these are the features that we need in every single application. But implementing them one by one could take hours, if not even days, to implement it. Not to mention that we have to be really careful about security. So a task that would take you weeks to implement properly with connected accounts, changing usernames, passwords, and more took just a couple of minutes using Clerk. And that's why I'm so happy that to a phenomenal app such as Threads, we can leverage all of the Clerk's functionalities right out of the box. Great. With that said, we're already signed in, which I cannot really believe, to be fully honest, that it took just a couple, or took really to allow you to sign out or for.
So what is ClickUp? ClickUp is an all-in-one productivity software where you can manage everything and anything related to your
/clerk as well. This is the initial. So let's copy this and sign in. Through the in, we want to go to the onboarding. So I'm going to add that right there. And the last step is to embed the user button that is going to allow you to manage your full account information. Go to in here. Now we've done a lot of changes, so let's go ahead and test it out and see if everything works. Of course, we're going to center this in the middle of the choosing to sign. Sign in, opted to localhost 3000, and you can see a little profile icon on top. We've been sign up, and now we've done a lot of changes. So let's go to our button and then rendering it right here. Can override this by importing our user button and then rendering it right here. Now we've done a lot of changes, so let's go ahead and test it out and see if everything works. Of course, we're going to center this in the middle of the screen later on, but for now, and immediately it requests us to add the username as well. I'm gonna do jpost with its account, profile pic, choose active devices, think about security. We can great with that it took just layout and started working on our homepage. We can close our auth and go within the root folder and then page.tsx. Here we just have our user button and the layout, but we can focus on the homepage itself, or at least its general structure. So let's get started with removing this user button, at least for now. We're going to bring it on later. But for now, let's simply create an h1 here that's going to say home. And we can give it a class name that's going to be head-text as well as text-left. We can also wrap this in just a React fragment as we don't have to give it any classes. Now, if we save this, it's going to appear like you cannot see anything on your homepage. But if you hold and drag, you can see that the home indeed is hiding there, but it is white text on white background. Drag this, it's going to appear fragment as we don't have to there. Is for. We already have the HTML and other things. First of all, we want to add a top bar. So let's create a component with a self-closing top bar, as well as a bottom bar. Usually it's a footer. In this case, it's going to be a functional bottom bar. And we're going to make it even more unique by within that top bar and bottom bar, we're going to create a new main section. That main section is going to have a left sidebar just like this. And it's going to have a right sidebar as well. It's going to be a top body. We're going to add some other things. First of all, we want to add a top bar. So let's create a component with a self-closing top bar, as well as a bottom bar. Usually it's a footer. In this case, it's going to be a functional bottom bar. And we're going to make it even more unique by within that top bar and bottom bar, we're going to create a new main section. That main section is going to have a left sidebar, just like this, and it's going to have a right sidebar as well. It's a pretty complex interface, but it works, especially for social media applications when you have a lot of data to showcase. So, in between the left sidebar and the right sidebar, of course, we have our section, and that section is going to have a class name equal to main-container. So this is going to contain the majority of our application. And within it, we can have a div that's going to have a class name equal to w-full, meaning full width, and max-w-4xl. So on large devices, it's going to go only as far as max-w4xl. And we can render the children within it. There we go. Now, you can notice that we have a lot of red squiggly lines here. Left sidebar, top sidebar, none of this has been defined. So let's create a new components folder outside of the app folder. We created outside because in the app, we only put the files and folders which we want Next.js to render on the homepage. Don't forget, Next.js supports file-based routing. So that's why we want to create it outside. And we can start by creating a couple of folders this time. We're going to create a folder called shared. And this is going to include some shared components. We can also create another folder called forms, and even a third one that is going to be called cards. So essentially we have 3 folders within the components folder, just like so. Cards, forms, and shared. And later on, we're going to have an additional one for Shad.CL components. Now, inside of shared, we can create a new component, and that's going to be topbar.tsx. At the same time, we can create all the other ones, such as the bottom bar.tsx. We can also create a left sidebar.tsx and a right sidebar.tsx. I believe this is all that we need for now. Let's get started from top to bottom with the bottom bar. That's going to be function bottom bar. And it's going to simply return. For now, we can make it return an H1 that's going to say bottom bar. And finally, export default bottom bar. This is all that we need, and we can copy this and also paste it to all the other components, but of course rename it from bottom bar to left sidebar. We can repeat the process for the right sidebar. And finally, for the top bar, b with a lowercase b. And there we go. So now we have these different components. And we can go back into our app, into the root layout.tsx, and you can double click the top bar and press Control space, or I believe it is Command space on Mac, and it's going to automatically recommend you the import. And we can repeat the process for all the other components. And if you notice at the top, you can see we have imports for these 4 different components coming from add/components, shared, top bar, left sidebar, right sidebar, and bottom bar. This means that we no longer have any errors, and it also means that the general structure of our application is done. We can see the home in the middle left, as well as a top bar and left sidebar on top, because they're not falling into the layout nicely as of yet. And then we have the right sidebar and bottom bar at the bottom. Now to start creating that layout, we can start with the top bar and then move to the left sidebar, and you're going to notice soon enough all things are going to start falling into place. So to get started with that, we can put our browsers side by side with our editor. This way we'll be able to see the changes that we make live. And we can close all of the currently open files and just open up the top bar as it's on the top, so it makes sense to start from it first. This top bar is actually going to be a nav. So we can have a return statement that's going to have parentheses like so. And we can transform this h1 tag into a nav tag that's going to wrap everything else. This nav tag, this stop line is applying full our navigation does. Simply go to you're gonna Tailwind CS that you can use that to get to understand the rate usually do. So with each ref to have and so it coming a key tag gold text, so just reds. Now if we save it, that's showing this folder. Within it, you're going to have and correct.svg. Let's save the file and correct the path to /assets/logo.svg.